Hey, everybody. Really excited to speak with Griffin this week, who's coming from a personal fitness background into tech sales, broke into a great company. Really excited to share your story with everyone. Maybe as a starting point, share a little bit more about where you were before looking at tech sales, and we'll break it down from there.
Yeah, so where I was before tech sales, just I went to school, played soccer in Arkansas for college, came back, started working on my certifications, got into the personal training field, been there for about 7 years, and I knew it was time to make a change, especially about to turn 30. I was really um, wanting to be more financially stable for the future because for personal training, it's all depends. If your client comes, you make the money. If they don't come, if they go on vacation, you lose the money. So it's a very up and down career in terms of financially. And I wanted something more stable. And if I was going to be working 160 hours a month, I wanted to be paid out for what I know I was missing out on. And I just feel like it was time to pull the trigger. And then so I wanted to get into tech sales because I have friends in the industry. So I knew how well that's done for them and how much they really enjoy it. So I knew I needed to find, especially coming from the personal training field, testimonials are a really big thing. So I knew I needed to find some company, some online, because with the proper testimonials, because I'm very much when clients come to me, they want the results. They want the coach that's already been there and done it to short track that success. So I knew I needed to find the same. That's essentially how I found Higher Levels. Really loved just everything that Eric and Chris had to offer. So I just pulled the trigger, made the investment because I knew it was going to pay off tenfold in the future. And then that's where we're at today.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Obviously, great to have you. Great to have the result. I think you're one of the few people that has broken into Monte Carlo as well. It's a tough one to break into, to say the least. So was really stoked when we saw it. Maybe just quickly tapping into as well. Obviously, you mentioned you saw some of the testimonials we had. I'm curious, were you considering other programs? If it was anything else other than the testimonials that really put you over the edge? There's tons of programs out there. What really made you say, "Hey, Higher Levels is the best fit for me"?
Yeah, so in terms of considering other programs, I'm like a fresh fish out of water. So I was like, okay, if I find someone I really like and enjoy, and I know that it's going to help me be successful, I'm just going to make the jump, not even going to look. So I'm very decisive. Once I figured out Higher Levels had all the great testimonials, I also went to y'all's YouTube. I just really like the rawness of how you talk, Eric, and then just went from there. That's once I found y'all, it was kind of I don't need to consider anything else. You guys been there, done before. They have the backing, the proof of concept. So let's roll.
Yeah, that's cool, man. We appreciate that. Obviously, glad to see it and awesome to see the result. Maybe giving some advice out there to people in your situation that are coming from, a totally different industry. I've seen people, we've seen several personal trainers that ultimately do make this transition successfully, but I think reasonably so. A lot of people may say, "Hey, I'm a personal trainer with no tech experience," or "I'm a school teacher," or whatever it may be. Maybe looking at getting interviews in the first place. With your background, did you experience any problems getting noticed, getting invited to interviews? What were some of the things you did that really helped you stand out and start making progress on that front?
Oh, yeah. I remember when I got through the course, Eric and Chris were like, all right, in the course, like, all right, we've laid it all out for you. Now it's time for you to go out there and start interviewing. And then I looked at my resume. I was like, wow, I have not filled out or done a resume in, 6 years. We got some work to do. So the resume portion, especially with Ryan on the live calls, I think that's what really got me into the interviews because, there's specific words, verbiage that you guys specifically have us use on the resume to really, and then also tell the story with the resume. So I think if I didn't have Ryan and y'all's help, I wouldn't even be sitting here today like this fast within a company. But I would say, advice to my younger self or anyone else that needs it is just if you want it, you have to go get it. They lay out all the steps for you, and now it's on you. And I think that's with anything else is you want to be successful in anything you do, you have to actually put 110% effort and move at speed. That'd be my advice.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And I'm curious too, you know, you mentioned you were in that career track. You hadn't made a resume and I believe you said 6 years. I'm
Yeah.
assuming you probably didn't have a ton of like corporate interview experience or things of
Mhm.
that nature. Are there any challenges you had as you're maybe getting your first, second, or third round interview of just things you had to get used to, objections you had to overcome? I'm curious if there's anything that helped you in the interview itself.
Yeah, I would say the toughest part for me was really finding that company that I really personally felt a connection with, because I just didn't want to apply for any and every company. It really had to match with my core values, because I want to be a part of a company I love, so that way I enjoy what I do. And I would say, other than that, the program, higher levels, pretty much gave me the blueprint to what questions were coming, so I was able to prepare that way. So it wasn't they asked a question and I didn't know that question was coming. You guys did a really good job within the modules of really saying these are the potential questions they're going to ask you. Here's the best way to answer that, and then just tailor and make your own. And I would say, really, just don't be afraid to show your character, because they want to see what makes you different from the next person, because I assume they get a bunch of the same type of personality, so they really want to see, from my experience, is something fresh and brand new.
Yeah, that's cool. And maybe the last note on the interview, because I know a lot of people watching this or maybe considering making this move as well. Just would love to pick your brain on your perspective. I'm curious what exercises you had in final rounds, whether it's, you know, cold calls or giving a product demonstration or a presentation, things of that nature. How did you prepare for those and really succeed in those when you didn't have formal tech or sales experience in the past?
Yeah, so for my third round interview, I had a warm call, so like an inbound call. Other than that, I also had a homework email assignment, but I really wanted to make sure I cemented myself as the top candidate in their eyes. So on the email assignment, I sent that first initial cold email, and then I included a bunch of follow-up templates, and I put explanations on, hey, this is why I wrote this follow-up this way, which was also a big help, because in the program you guys give those follow-up templates and kind of say, here's how you should write this email. So I would do that. And then on the actual third round was the warm call. And really, I practiced a lot for that, just to make sure I wouldn't stumble on my words, because I didn't want her to try to trick me up, and I wanted her to have confidence in me that, okay, we can bring him to the next round. He's good enough to make it to the team. And then the fourth round was just with the head of sales, and that was more just a conversation, because I did a really good job showcasing myself throughout the whole interview process. So that fourth round was, we just had a conversation, which was just pretty easy, I would say.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love to see that, and credit to you for taking everything and actually implementing it. It's one thing to have, you know, a lot of pointers, a lot of advice along the way, but I think executing in real time is another part of the battle that obviously you did really well with. Maybe kind of in closing, just looking back at the whole journey yourself, if there's any advice you give to call it your younger self or someone on the fence, would love to end with that.
Yeah, I would say advice to my younger self is, just go all in, do whatever you have to take. Because I think my younger self would have been more hesitant, like really not done it as fast. But like I said, success loves speed, so you want to move as fast as possible. So do everything in your power and go above and beyond. The other thing that I did throughout the interview process, before and after each interview. So before the recruiter interview, I would send like hey, I'm looking forward to meeting you. After the recruiter interview, I would send her a thank you email for meeting with me. Two things that I learned and took away, and I did that for every step of the interview process. And when I got to my manager and head of sales, I still was keeping the recruiter in the loop to let her know, hey, this is how the call went. Here's the things I learned. So I really made sure they knew I was going above and beyond, doing all the little extra things. So I think that's really what helped me submit my spot at the company as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I think a real gem there too. I think so many people sleep on those small little details that takes, you know, 5 minutes of time each time you're sending a quick update, but that is standing out. No one else is doing that. And obviously it sounds like you executed at every single step of the way. Griffin, thanks again. And obviously congrats as well. If there's anything you feel like you missed or want to add before we go, feel free. But otherwise, really appreciate it. And congrats again.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys. I seriously recommend to whoever's watching this, if you're thinking about making the investment in the program, just do it. It's going to pay back tenfold, 10 to 100x in the future. So just do it. So.